What do a Black Christian woman
and a Jewish white guy have in common?
We're both seasoned marriage counselors, both married
to other people,
and we're loaded with straightforward practical tools
to change your marriage for the better today.
Welcome to the Better Marriage Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Better Marriage Podcast with Raffi and Ivy. Today, we're going to be talking about giving your spouse the benefit of the doubt. This is a big one.
Ooh, this is super good. Yeah, I mean, this comes up all the time, and this will definitely measurably increase the goodness in your relationship if you can pull this off consistently.
Yes. You have to know who your spouse is, right? You have to, I like to tell people, go back to why you guys were attracted to each other. Go back to why you even care about your spouse, why you love your spouse, who your spouse is at their core, and focus on that in the difficult moments. Like, you know, the heart that they have. So focus on that before everything else.
Yeah, if there's a difficult situation, you're fighting whatever else it is, to think, you know what, they're a really good person. You know, she's generally very nice. He's a very caring person. This is like, it doesn't make sense. They're trying to be mean to me right now. You know, we often think like, oh my gosh, he's really giving it to me, or they're giving the silent treatment. Like, I don't know, really, they're a good person. Think about, you know, if I'm not sure what's happening here, maybe there's a good explanation for it.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe there's a good explanation for this. And think of it as a thing of curiosity. All right, so the person that I know is really kind and very warm and very sweet, very loving. But in this moment, he's giving me the silent treatment. So if I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, so something has to be going on for him to get to this point of shutting down. Let me explore more so that I can understand, so I can reconcile the behavior that's in front of me with the person that I know.
Yeah, like one way to do that is to adopt the mantra, that's strange. Right? You know, if something is going on that you don't like or that doesn't seem to make sense, why would they do that? That's strange. Instead of saying to yourself, well, they're trying to punish me or they just don't care. Like, that's strange. I know this person. Why would they be doing this?
Yeah. And how you think about your spouse is going to affect how you feel about your spouse. It's going to affect the behavior that you do towards your spouse. So if you're giving them the benefit of the doubt, okay, well, that's a little bit strange because he's very loving and he's very warm, but in this moment, he's appearing very cold. All right, I'm feeling curious. So now I'm going to ask him more questions about what's going on. And the questions are not going to be finger pointing and blaming. Why are you being so mean to me and shutting me out? The questions are going to be more along the lines of, tell me more about what's going on. What's happening?
Right. So what you're describing there is a pivot from focusing on my feelings to focusing on theirs. Right. If I am upset because of the way my spouse is treating me, if I can stop and say, wait a second, I'm thinking about how I'm feeling. Let me think for a second how they're feeling. They must be upset. They must be hungry. They must be preoccupied, whatever it is. There's something there. And again, that goes back to the curiosity and the, that's strange, where we can try to understand better. And then it hurts me less. I am less upset. And again, the relationship benefits tremendously from that.
Yeah. So coming from a place of empathy, sounds like that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to bring up another place where this really is really important, the benefit of the doubt, is when something's happening that you're not happy with. Like, forget about how they're behaving. Let's say they come home late, or, you know, you told them to pick up milk and there's no milk in the fridge, right? And you think like, oh gosh, I told them to pick it up and they always forget. And you say to yourself, oh, I know what's going on, right? You feel very, very confident you know what's going on. I have been here so many times. I have been in this situation where I'm annoyed at my wife. And I was dead sure. I was like, there's no way she's getting out of this one. I said that to myself. I said, I know what's happening here. She is wrong. She messed this up and this is her fault and I'm wrong. And it was so clear. And then once, you know, I followed my advice and I waited till later and we talked about it kindly. And once I heard from her, I was like, oh, you know what? Like, that, I guess it does kind of make sense. And I've been there so, like, I do it the next time also. I'm like, no, but this time I'm sure. And then it turns like, that does make sense, right? So your spouse is home late, or, you know, they didn't do the homework with your kid, or whatever it is. There's so many times where you think you understand what's going on, but you don't. You can't know everything. You don't know why they're not home yet. Maybe it's traffic. Maybe their phone died. Whatever it is, benefit of the doubt means, you know what? I don't really know what's going on here. Let me hold off before I lay into them with why I'm upset.
Give them a chance to tell you what's going on. Give them a chance to explain the circumstances. There is almost always a great explanation for the behavior or the thing that happened, the thing that
Yeah.
didn't happen, that was supposed to happen. There's almost always something else that's going on. But think about it this way: if you just attack a person, they don't even have a chance to explain and tell you, hey, there was an accident on the road and that's why I'm an hour late.
Yeah.
But just go into them and just rah, 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 rah. They can't explain. Now they are shutting down. Now you're arguing and you really don't have a good perspective on what's going on.
It's a fight and it's useless. And we've all been there. It is a useless fight. You can, if you, again, you have to rely on taking a break and not dealing with it in the moment, right? Your spouse comes home, they're half an hour late, they haven't called, they walk in like nothing happened. So you say to yourself, that's strange. I'm sure there's some explanation for this. We will talk about it later, because you do not want to open up when you're upset about it. And then later that evening, she comes and says to you, like, hey, I'm so sorry. I realized I forgot to tell you. I came home half an hour late because, there are these aliens that came down on the highway and they abducted me and so on and so forth. Whatever it might be, that is an unlikely explanation, and it might come off like an excuse. But the point is, there's probably some explanation that makes more sense than the one I just came up with on the fly.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the takeaway for today is when you don't know what's going on, and that is almost always you don't know for sure, say to yourself, I wonder if there's another explanation here. And that will, again, smooth out a lot of the wrinkles and a lot of the bumps in your relationship.
I love it.
All right, thanks for joining us, folks. See you next week on the Better Marriage Podcast.